guy from Germany who stubbornly just wanted to play music.
Hans Zimmer is a crazy genius.
He's just one of the nicest people I've ever met and a great film composer.
Never thought about a career. Never written a note of music for money.
I don't think there are few words to define Hans the way I know him. Hans is a genius.
Somebody who's concerned with making sure that we will have orchestras forever and try to support my musician friends and try to discover new people and never growing up.
A lot of the producers go, "Oh my God, no, Hans, can you not write the thing that you did so that you get an Oscar and this and that?" And he said, "No, I'm going to do it all differently," and everybody is scared. And in the end, it's a hit. And in the end, everybody copies Hans's music.
He's this guy that I met 37 years ago. That's come up, that's written some unbelievable music and had an incredible career.
I play music. That's what I do.
Can I do it as a
While we're waiting, do you want to check these? We've got.
Hans first mentioned to me, I think, about 8 years ago, that he would really like to do some concerts of his music. And I said, well, I'd be very happy to be involved. And then I didn't hear anything. So I thought he's too busy or gone off the idea. But earlier this year, he said, look, I've decided again to take time off writing. I really want to do some concerts. Can you be involved? And I said, yeah, happy, very happy to be involved.
I start the show off with my friends Richard Harvey and Nick Lenny Smith. My life in music really started with them 30 years ago. They had this wonderful studio called the Snake Ranch, which was a great name. And I could go and make noise in the middle of the night. And sometimes during the day, we would all go and play together. And I learned more from both Richard and Nick than I learned from anybody else.
I've known Hans for a long time, and we've done so many projects together, and we're just very good friends who enjoy working together, and there's a lot of respect going both ways, I think, which is really nice. I first met Hans, I think I was working as a recording engineer at a place called Riverside Recordings in London, and he came in very briefly, long-haired, leather jacket, and he was like the synthesizer boy in town. But he wasn't really... I was like a piano player, Hammond player and synth player. He had this little box called a Roland microcomposer, and he would just program up on this little 10 keypad and then press record and get a sound on his Prophet, and suddenly magic would happen.
I've known Hans for 35 years. When I first met Hans, we were both very thin and had a lot of hair. You know, times have changed, but we had two common factors, if you like. We were both with Aerodel Agency, which were mainly doing TV advertisement music at that time. But also we were both friendly with Stanley Myers, the composer. We both worked with Stanley, we both co-wrote. In those days, we didn't have computers. If you wanted to get a job, you did a great demo. And Hans would do great demos with his Prophet 5 and his modular Moog and his modular Roland. I got my jobs by playing flute, clarinet, piano, acoustic guitar. So I'd do tracks all by myself, and he'd do tracks all by himself, but we'd help each other out sometimes. So we worked together quite a bit.
There's a spirit of more than friendship. It's brotherhood in music and brotherhood personally. I think from the first time we worked together, a unwritten formula happened, just inspired by the music and the spirit of how we work together.
He has selected some of his dearest friends and some of his closest musical collaborators, arranged his music for orchestra with drums, with choir, with band and soloists, and combined that with a spectacular light show and a very, very personal and private storytelling session from him. I think it's a brilliant idea, actually, because people are going to get to know him the way we know him, who have worked with him for so many years, as an intimate, funny, intelligent, brilliant man, and not just as an untouchable god of film music.
Next to that one, just needs to.
Closed it, right?
Morning,
This is Guthrie.
Yeah, how are you, Guthrie? Very nice to meet you.
Let's go. If I don't hit that, you'd get a lot.
Seems a little bit. So I'm going to try that again.
I know we talked about.
We've been rehearsing here for, I guess, 2 weeks as a band, and then we put the orchestra in. We had 4 rehearsals with them, 2 rehearsals with the choir, about 3 rehearsals with the girl drum line.
Oh, hang on a second. Something's going in right now.
I've arrived this morning with 25 instruments. My taxi driver said, "Have you got all the instruments for the orchestra?" And I said, "No, I'm playing them all myself." He said, "Oh, really? That's unusual." I said, "I know, that's how I get hired. I'm good value for money."
That should be D2.
Thank you.
It's much less tiring rehearsing for these shows than actually working on films, because when you're working on films, you're stuck in the studio for 12 hours a day, 7 days a week for about 4 or 5 months, depending on the project. And this is, we get to be with our friends, we get to be out, and we get to be here in London, which is great, out in the city, and we're able to actually play our instruments and not just be sitting there trying to write cues and stuff. So it's much more fun and it's much more enjoyable, definitely.
If you sound bad, you might want to talk to him. Okay. Why do I sound so bad? Practice, right, okay. Part of what I wanted to do is, in a funny way, I wanted to show not the composer sitting at the grand piano, not the conductor. I asked the orchestra, "Do you want a conductor?" And they said, secretly, honestly, we play better without one. We know what we're doing. I wanted to show this camaraderie of musicians. Yeah, something like that. It's quite good to start with.
In that case,
I'm always going for where do I not have to move?
Yes, of course. Right. Yeah, hold one chord position and just hit strings.
Right, but I'm still shooting out.
No, but it just has that, it doesn't feel...
I'm really enjoying the format of this, because I would have expected when Hans said he was going to do a major show of like a retrospective of his work, I thought it was going to be a big orchestra and a few other things. This is more like a band. It's getting quite loud in there. A lot of guitars, bass, a lot of drums, a lot of keyboards, and it feels like a band.
We are very prepared. I mean, everything was written out, and the band learned it, and we always had it. Like, we had a pre-record of the orchestra while we were rehearsing. So as people come in, we take out pre-records.
Well, it's the same as when you go and do a recording session with the orchestra. Everything's already on Pro Tools, so you're replacing elements. So we're working out how to do the parts that we're replacing. And then obviously we're listening to the orchestra of Pro Tools because they're not here.
Oh, hang on, it's 50. It is bar 50. Can we just for us, can we just play from bar 48?
So we're just getting ourselves together so we can hear the orchestra, we can listen to the sounds we're supposed to be replicating, and get our acts together. And then we put the orchestra and the choir together on the 8th and the 10th. and then we do the shows. Then we go home.
And it was the only way to do it, because if we had had, I don't know, 72 people in the room on the first day, I would have died. You know, there's no way I could have controlled it. And like this, it was just slowly building up a sound, really, because even though we're faithful to the music, we're interpreting it in a new way.
I loved Crimson Tide. Again, I was quite involved with that with Hans, and as he says in the concerts, there was a big thing about whether Jerry Bruckheimer and Don Simpson, the producers, would let Hans use a choir, because they didn't think that was the right way to go. But Tony Scott backed him up, and Bob Badamy eventually kicked them all out and said, just let Hans get on writing some music. And I think he wrote some very beautiful music for that. And I think it's one of the, one of the nicest pieces we play in the show. It's very good. Mind you, they're all nice.
I mean, we got a lot of people on the stage. Alexei Guzman and Tristan Schulze. I mean, the first time I met Alexei and Tristan, they had a string trio called Triology, and then Ennio Morricone introduced me to them, and he literally said to me, these are the only people that can play my music. You know, and I thought that was a pretty good recommendation.
So Hans Zimmer was there, and he was thinking, okay, I want those guys as well. I want them to play my music. So he invited us to work with him on some movies. The first movie we did together was El Dorado, and then Spanglish as well. And then some years later, he called myself to work on the Sherlock Holmes movies, which was a lot of fun. We really created a very special sound and sound world, a crazy sound world for that.
Yolanda Charles and Mary Scully, the electric bass and the acoustic bass. I mean, Mary has played on pretty much every one of my scores I've recorded in England. I met Yolanda through Dave Stewart. She's a phenomenal musician. And then, of course, there's Satnam. Whatever happened to Angels and Demons is entirely Satnam's doing. He picked himself 6 rather amazing percussionists who happen to all be beautiful. Easy, right? Just like what we did at the Olympics.
Just the same.
I met Hans at a dinner party and we jammed. It was a bizarre jam, actually. He was playing La Vie en Rose on piano. My friend was singing. Stuart Copeland from The Police was playing bongos. And I was playing drums, and none of us knew the song. And sure enough, Hans trusted me to work with him on Sherlock Holmes, and that was the beginning of our collaboration together.
Banjo 2, 3, 4, Satnam 2.
Guthrie Govan, I saw him on YouTube, and if Richard and Nick are the beginning of my musical life in a way, I wanted to have somebody I'd never worked with before. So I phoned him up and I sort of made him the leap to the future.
A lot of the pieces, there were no guitars on the score, but Guthrie found a way to put some magic into it.
Yeah, great.
I can't do both because they happen at the same time, I think.
Oh, then let's give that one to Frank. That's a really good crank part. You know, it was really more like exploring, you know, where people, you know, we knew what the orchestra would do. We know what they do. But, you know, I wanted to see what room I could leave for Richard or what room I could, you know, leave for Yolanda. I mean, you know, Sherlock has never been performed with slap bass, you know, but it sort of works.
I just thought, what am I going to do in Man of Steel? What am I going to do in Dark Knight? Because at the beginning, Hans said to me, look, play what you like. Just use all the rehearsal time to listen, to look, and whatever you feel like playing, just do it. It'll be fine.
It just gives it an extra dimension, which I think is exciting for the audience. Certainly exciting for us to play with.
Let's have a break.
All of the musicians actually that you see on stage, or I'd say all of the core band, are people that Hans actually has real relationships with. This on-stage band is not just randomly hired professionals that came out to play music that they don't care about. The entire band is actually family, and Hans has been very loyal to his family, and we all love him and love his music, and I think it's going to show in the concert.
It's like a big extended family. I mean, there's people that I haven't known that long, like you know, Alexi and Anne-Marie. I haven't seen them around very much, but when you do see them, it's like, oh, you know, how are you? What are you up to? So it is. It's like a big family. It is good, and it's great working with people at that level. They, you know, they're all really good, and they make you realise that you kind of have to raise your game a bit. You know, there's some really good people around you, and they're all watching you, so you can't. No, not that I would, you know, not that I wouldn't give it all, but you know, it's everybody's vibing each other up. Everybody's pushing each other.
It's like picked a national football team, and he's got all his best players, and that was great because you know we didn't have that much time to prepare for this, so. He's obviously very happy he's got everyone he wanted. It's a great band though, really great.
It's an observation.
Wouldn't be the first. No, you wouldn't.
Well, I have to say that...
So have you finished your...
My function on this project is to provide the material that the musicians are going to be playing from in coordination with the copying team and orchestrator team out in Los Angeles.
Bruce Fowler and his team in Los Angeles, who've done all the orchestrations for Hans for many, many years, they did all the charts. So we have orchestra parts and also we have band parts. And we just, you know, a lot of us know the pieces because we've been working on them. We decide what we're going to play and work that way. And then once we've got the basic structure and the rhythm, then it's time to put the orchestra on to give the colour and the body and the texture that only an orchestra can do.
This sort of project is definitely a work in progress because it's a very creative project, and so things are changing every minute, and so I get requests to add certain passages to other parts and just mix and match it a little bit to make it how they want it, and then I reprint it and take it down for them to incorporate into the performance.
Hear that compressor kick in.
Yesterday we worked on Lion King, and I'm playing exactly the same lines on that score that I played, 18 years ago? 20 years ago? 20 years maybe, yeah. And Hans keeps looking round and saying, that sounds exactly like it did 20 years ago. Hans called me. He was in LA, I was in London. He said, can you get on a plane? Can you come over? We need a lot of instruments for the Lion King score. Well, actually, I didn't know about the Lion King. He said, I've got this new movie. It's for Disney, it's an animation. I said, look, first of all, I can't make it over there. The best thing is you send me the music, you send me the recordings, and I have all my instruments at home, and we'll just DHL everything back and forth. Even then, this was the days before being able to email large files. So I did all the recording in my studio in London and sent him tapes over to LA. So we never actually saw each other during that project.
It was an interesting time. Nobody at Disney really knew whether it was going to be a success or not. They were all very worried. Oh, we can't afford a third trumpet, you know. But it seems to have done quite well for everybody.
Zara, she is extraordinary. Her voice is just mind-blowing, and I just knew her as a, you know, composer and somebody who worked at, you know, with Hans and other people as well. It's just so nice to be on stage with them for once. And the other musicians are just brilliant. Of course, I do have a wonderful special connection with Anne-Marie. I've worked with her on many different movies together with Hans, and I think we do have a really good chemistry on stage.
It's amazing to me that a lot of people think that film scores are something that are written once and then are presentable as a live concert. But actually, this is an entirely new platform for Hans's music where it can really stand alone.
Do you have that?
And it's been amazing to see the parts come to life with a live band. And it'll be even more amazing when the entire orchestra, choir, and drum line are also revealed at the performance.
There's a lot of music to choose from, and they'd spent a long time deciding which bits they wanted to use, and it's really down to Hans at the end of the day. But I think he had a lot of friends and colleagues giving their opinions, and Gladiator, they just had the love theme, and you know, this is one thing where I did make a difference. I said, you've got to have some of the battle from Gladiator, and I said, well, we tried it, but it's never worked.
This one was a big bone of contention, getting this one together. I mean, Zahn, I did a version which nobody liked. Then Steve and Andrew was beating up on me, going, there's the one tune I wanted to leave out. He's going, they played an ice hockey game.
So we went, took pieces, put it all together now, so we have a much more rounded, it's a much more complete arc of the story for Gladiator. And then some of the medleys have been put together, so you know, there are movies, rather than just having a 2-minute or 3-minute piece, we've made some longer selections which have 2 or 3 different movies in the same piece of music that are joined together, which makes it interesting as well.
So let's just have a listen from the beginning. I think that's probably the best thing.
Trio. Hammond, 2, 3, 4.
Somebody's head exploded halfway through. Sorry. It was the Hammond that just made me feel so heavenly. I lost the chords. Can you do it one more time?
Clarinet, 2, 3, 4.
Some of these pieces are 20 minutes. I think Batman is probably 20 minutes long. So I think it's probably, I don't know, I haven't timed it, but it must be 50 minutes or something. It's quite a lot. More than I thought it would take me to remember. Sorry.
It's the thing I love about this concert is the body of work over 30 years, from Driving Miss Daisy through to, I guess the latest one out is Spider-Man. There's a huge variety and different mood, but always good tunes, great ideas. You know, each one's unique and individual, but they work really well together as a concert as well.
Right now, all I know is, in a funny way, the only thing my life is about is these pieces of music, because I'm just trying to memorize them. I'm just trying to be in this moment. I don't have any other pieces of music in my head. Okay, now take the fake ones out.
When I was preparing for this project, I was going back through old files and looking at, because I'm playing a lot of textures and soundscapes and things that I created for the various movies and flying them in live in different places and so forth. And so actually looking at the dates on them, looking at the original Batman files, they're 2004, they're 10 years old. And it's a long, long time.
It's my first time in public with an accordion, and I've managed to get a parrot to sit on the side of it. So it's been a lot of fun actually. It works well in parrots, and I also play it in Sherlock and Madagascar, and then put it down for the rest of the show.
Do you think this is like the brightest? Yeah.
It's good.
It's really
It
good.
should just be out for the middle bit, I think. Oh, you want me to try it with? Do you want to go back and try that slow bit?
Yeah.
Before we move on.
Oh.
Next time. Back to the old thing. Something only needs to be there for that.
So this has to be Oh God. Frank Ricotti on marimbas and Gary Cattell on timpani. They're generally known in this town as the Dangerous Brothers. And if you look at the history of their film work, or if you just look at the history of the work they did, it's absolutely amazing. And one of sort of my greatest games of recording in London is always, because they've played on everything and they've done everything, I always try to think of one thing, one like new thing that they haven't done. It's usually, I'm going, well, if you were to hit the timbs with brushes on the side just like this, and they go, I don't know, Hans, I don't know if this will sound good. And then they go out there and they go, wow, this is really good. We've never done this before. And then I'm happy. I'm trying to keep the excitement going. It's a really bad idea, me doing this.
When we were listening through the stuff in Los Angeles, we started playing True Romance, and I suddenly remembered Tony Scott coming in the room when we were working on that and thinking he's no longer with us. That I thought he's looking down, listening. So yeah, there's some emotion attached, but mostly it's just working out what we're going to do and getting everything to sound as good as it can do.
It's key that this concert is visually interesting, you know, and it's, you know, you may have the best drummer or bass player or guitarist, but they'll sit there with the same instrument in their hand all night. My job is to pick up a different instrument every 2 minutes. People go, oh, what is that? What's he playing now? Wow, what's that sound? Oh, it's coming from him. So I'm a bit of a kind of joker in the pack. I'm always coming up with surprises. So a bit like a magic show, I had to prepare everything I was doing.
You know, the other member in the band really is Mark Brickman, our lighting designer. I've known Mark for many, many years. He's always been the great visionary lighting designer for Pink Floyd. And so I said to him, I don't want to tell you what to do. You know my music really well. You just do what you want to do. You just go and jam on this music. He took the whole building down today, the power in the whole building, which is very normal with Mark, you know. Things will either explode or whatever, you know, and you just have to be prepared for this. Harvey said to me, you better be prepared to tell the audience what would be up on these lights and what would be there, because we might not have power, but, you know, it's Mark.
And, you know, it works as a concert without showing one frame of picture. You know, it's all music from the movies, but there are no movie clips being shown, which I think it makes it quite extraordinary.
I don't often listen to soundtracks without the film, and I really do prefer to listen to the music within the film, which is where it was intended to be. But to hear it in a concert environment like this, and it's been really well crafted, it's been really well thought about. You know, the segues to one into the other, and the medleys where you're going from theme to theme to theme. It really works well. I think people are really going to appreciate the effort that's gone into it.
I just think there has to be one idiot in the show, at least one person who's the madman, and that's just my role. I like that role because I do. It just fits me. No, I love to have fun on stage. I love to, you know, I don't make fun of music. I make fun with music, with the help of music. And those little props or maybe a mask here or there just may give a little smile to the audience as well. Because some of that music is very heavy, very intense, and it may just need that little, it's like having a dessert and just adding a little bit of red pepper.
People always mistake the idea that a composer is a performer. I am not a performer. You know, I get stage fright. You know, that's why I haven't done many shows. But it's Anne-Marie and Alexei Gutzman, really, who are guilty of making me play the banjo. You know, Anne-Marie in her sweet little way going, you know, Hans, I think it would be really fun if... I'm going, no. And, you know, of course I end up playing the banjo.
There's actually nothing like this out there in the world, because it's like a modern music, but it's almost like a rock concert as well, because we've got such elements of percussion and, you know, all Hans's stuff in there, but also it's just such a great production from the lights, and just got 70 odd people on stage. It's a big spectacle and all great music. he's such a master at what he does. I always learn something from the process of working with him. Doesn't matter which project it is, and we always have a good time. You know, I have 3 rules. If I'm conducting an orchestra or writing music, doesn't matter. We've got to do great work, we've got to make magic, but we've also got to have fun.
We'll see, you know, let's get through tonight alive. We can discuss if we're going to do something else.
There are some people you know for so long that even if you don't see them for 2 years, it's just like there's been no separation. Hans is one of these guys who really values people who he's known a long time, with no breaks, no upsets. I just say about Hans and myself, you know, we really understand each other well, and we go back a very long way. And I don't think anything will ever get in the way of that. You know, we're not rivals in any way. We're not, you know, we don't interfere with what we complement. All the activities we do musically, it complements each other. So we've always been friends and we'll always be friends. It's just that I'm in Europe, he's in the States. But, you know, I'm so happy that I was one of the first people that he put on the list. Anyway, I hear they're playing the first song now, so I better go, otherwise I'll be in trouble. Cheers, guys.
Somebody said to me recently, you know, when you don't feel the nerves, you have to go and do something else. I feel the nerves, trust me.
Recording this, are you?
No,
you're not.
My stuff is on my lap. Look.
No,
yeah.
Well, it is recorded.
I'm not in charge of that.
Are you?
No, I'm not.
It's all right.
I don't mind.
It's okay. I'll burn the fucking house down. You know, I mean, I just write the stuff. I think they're trying out the subwoofers. Right. Right. Absolutely. Don't use any of it. Let us do it. The German version. So try to get the German. Tristan and I mean, you know, it's like Tristan. So it's Desche Wasser Ra. You can do the Ra. Right. Okay. Mr. Harvey, that's really ridiculous.
They asked me to do it.
Okay, the subwoofers are definitely working. I can feel them.